Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today we're doing a 2026 NFL mock draft post college football regular season. This is before bowl games. This is before the playoffs. It is just after the regular season has concluded. So lots of teams are not going to be playing in the bowl game. Lots of teams won't be in the playoffs. Lots of guys are declaring for the draft, declaring they're going to return to school. So right now is a great time to do, to sit down, go over some prospects, and talk about the first round of the NFL draft. So if you guys do enjoy, please like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video. So these ranks for the picks, this order is currently after week 15. It is December 16th at 10 p.m. There is not any football played yet. The Dolphins and Steelers just played last night. The Steelers beat the Dolphins. So this is after week 15. So as you can see, the Giants are still number 1, the Raiders number 2, the Titans number 3, and the Browns number 4. That's still the ranking. So I want to make sure if you guys watch this in a couple of days, I believe this video is actually going to be posted on, what is that, the 22nd, I believe I'm posting this video. So Merry Christmas. But I believe I post this on the 22nd, the Monday morning following the Sunday of week 16. So yeah, this is week 15 still. It's almost a full week ahead. I'm making this video, so don't yell at me about the order. So let's get started. The New York Giants with number 1 overall. There is a 0.00% chance the Giants, 1, end up with number 1 overall, and 2, if they do have number 1 overall, keep that pick. So with this, I am going to be trading back. I do think the Jets make the most sense. So other teams at number 1 to get Fernando Mendoza, to trade up and try and draft him. You have the Las Vegas Raiders. You have the Cleveland Browns. You have the New York Jets. You have the Arizona Cardinals. And what? The Rams. So that's 4 or 5 teams that I do think would trade up for number 1 overall. The issue is I don't think the Rams or the Browns are willing to give up the draft capital needed to grab a quarterback at number 1 overall. I think they're more in for number 2, number 3 overall. So let's say Mendoza goes 1 and the Titans are number 2, and they don't want a quarterback. They don't like the Raiders draft capital. The Browns have 2 first-round picks. The Jets have 2 first-round picks, and the Rams have 2 first-round picks. So there is a world that the Raiders don't get a quarterback this draft. But if it does end up with the Jets or the Raiders at number 1 overall, I promise you a quarterback's getting taken. And if it ends up with either one of them at number 2 overall, same thing. I promise you there will not be a quarterback for the Browns, the Cardinals, or the Rams to trade up for. So right now, I think the Jets have the best offer, at number 5, number 18. And I do think they have to give up 105 and the future Colts first for number 1 overall. So this is the package, I think, as of right now, you're going to have to use to get to number 1 overall if you're the Jets at 5. Not only do you have number 5, you have number 18, the Indianapolis Colts pick, which I just don't think the Colts pick is going to be higher than the Jaguars pick that the Browns have. So yes, the Browns are pick at number 4, but I think the Jags pick is going to be in the 20s, mid to late 20s. So there's no way the Browns first round pick is more valuable than there's no way the Jags first round pick is less valuable than the Indianapolis Colts pick. I think the Browns as well are not willing to give up a future first round pick to move up. I think after the Deshaun Watson trade, I just don't see that happening. And for when it comes for the Rams with their 2 first round picks, Atlanta won't be picking higher than the Browns. It won't be picking higher than the Jets. And the Rams pick will be either at 32 or at 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. They're going to be one of the deep playoff push teams. So their first round pick this year is going to be almost useless. And number 10, I don't think the Falcons are going to get a top 5 pick. So again, I think the Jets with the Colts and their own pick have the best package. And then with the future first, I think they're going to have to give up a future first to jump the Raiders, to jump the Browns. And I think they're going to give up the Indianapolis Colts first. Because I think everyone knows that the Colts are going for a veteran quarterback in the offseason. They're not going to be trading for a rookie. I think no matter what I envision, if you guys watch my video that I just released, I have offseason trades that could happen. I had Anthony Richardson and a conditional 3rd round pick that could be turned into a 2nd round pick if Kyler Murray is traded to the Colts and plays 60% of the snaps. So if Kyler Murray is on the market like they're saying it is, I think Anthony Richardson a conditional 3rd for Kyler Murray is very fair. The Cardinals get a young rookie, a young quarterback, and a conditional 3rd that turns into a 2nd round pick if Kyler stays healthy and plays 60% of the snaps, which I think would happen. So the Colts' 1st round pick is at worst gonna be over the top 10 overall pick. So I just don't think they'll be a top 10 picking team next year. They're going to be at 12 at minimum, and maybe even into the 20s if they make the playoffs. So I think that first is not as valuable as the Jets first, but 5 and 18 is very nice. You get a 4th round pick in 105. I do think the Giants want to give up a future 3rd round pick to secure another first next year. So that's to be the forced trade. So the Jets, they got Fernando Mendoza. He's the number one quarterback. He does everything you want a quarterback to do. He's 6'5", 225, mobile when he needs to be. As you can see, 79.2% completion percentage. Great adjusted completion percentage. Heisman winner. He's the guy, right? Everyone can agree in this draft, it's Fernando Mendoza, then it's Dante Moore. I like Dante Moore a little bit more. I think he's just a better quarterback. I don't know, I can't really explain it. But when you watch him play, I think he has a better grasp at the dominance portion. Like, he has that thing that quantifies a great quarterback. Mendoza has it too, but I just like Dante Moore's profile a little bit more. I like his ability in the pocket to work his way around the field. Makes a lot of NFL-worthy throws. Has a great arm, and that's just me. I'm a Dante Moore guy over Fernando Mendoza. I don't think Ty Simpson is coming out this draft. Lenore Sellers is not coming out this draft. Jaden Mayava might come out this draft. Brandon Sorsby's not coming out. Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks that are not coming out that are still on this board. But I do think Dante Moore will come out, and that will leave the Raiders to grab Dante Moore. So Mendoza at 1, going to the Jets. They have 4 of their 5 offensive linemen are returning next year. That's Josh Myers, Armand Membo, great rookie. Olu Fashanu, great young tackle. Their guard they drafted last year, I'm blanking on his name. I can see it on their depth chart, but I can't think of it. So all they do is replace a guard spot on their offensive line, and you can do that easily in free agency or the draft, and their offensive line is really good. They obviously have Garrett Wilson. They have good infrastructure with Tanner Eggstrand and Aaron Glenn, their head coach, I believe in. I hope after another offseason and draft that they can add more talent to that defense, because I believe in this coaching staff, and I think Mendoza immediately is a major upgrade to that passing game. And I think that's exactly the scheme fit that Eggstrand would want. That middle of the field passer who's not afraid to let it rip. And Dante Moore in Las Vegas, new offensive coordinator coming in next year. I'll be interested to see who Pete Carroll goes with. But Dante Moore, kind of one of those guys. I just don't think he's a goal getter. He's not a prospect you can mess up. Like, he's just a really good quarterback. Elevates the guys around him. When he transferred to Oregon, I was a little, mediocre on that move last offseason when he went to Oregon, but he has proven me wrong immensely this year, and I'm a very big fan of Dante Moore. So him in Las Vegas, him with Ashton Jancy, that is a great athletic backfield, but Dante Moore is not a rusher. He will rush if he needs to, but he would much rather stay in that pocket and throw a deep ball, a deep, accurate ball. I just think that the Raiders, they get Dante Moore so they can finally build this franchise around, same with Mendoza in New York. But that means that the Browns, the Cardinals, and the Rams are all going to have to pivot on their quarterback situation. So that'll be interesting to see. But the Titans, they're sitting at number 3. They are ecstatic that this is what happened with Mendoza and Moore going 1 and 2. They wish they were number 1 overall so they could get that trade package. But they're going to grab Arvell Reese, the linebacker from Ohio State. This dude is all over the field. As you can see, he's an edge rusher. He plays in the box. He is going to be the exact Swiss Army knife that the Tennessee Titans want in their defense. Then you have Jeffrey Simmons at D tackle, one of the best D tackles in the NFL. Then Arvell Reese coming off the edge, kind of like in that Micah Parsons role where he can come out into coverage. More like TJ Watt, because TJ Watt does a lot of coverage as well. That I love what Arvell Reese can do. I think he's one of the best prospects in this class outside the position. And I think Ohio State has one of the best classes coming out, period. And Arvell Reese is the top premier guy from that school coming out. He's a monster. The Tennessee Titans would love to have Arvell Reese on their team. The Cleveland Browns are sitting at number 4. I think it'd be very hard-pressed to get the Browns to trade down. I mean, Caleb Downs is right there. Cardinal Tate is available. Jordan Tyson's available. Mekhi Lemon's available. David Bailey. But I do think the Browns would trade down from number 4 overall. And I think they would be trading down to the Arizona Cardinals at number 6. I think the Browns, they would not want to slide too far down the board. I think it would be number 6, number 70, and a future 4th, and the Browns would offload a few of their 7ths. I think this is the deal that you would see for the Cleveland Browns moving down a few picks. They did it this year from number 2 to number 5, got a future 1st. So the Cardinals, in their minds, they see a great deal from 4 to 6. But I think the Cardinals, they would trade up, and they would grab Caleb Downs. Their secondary, again, I don't know if Jonathan Gannon's going to last this offseason. I really don't think he will. But Jonathan Gannon has been looking desperately for that dominant secondary player, and Caleb Downs is that guy. He plays all over the defense. He attacks the runner. He goes for pass breakups and interceptions. He's everything you want in a safety. And I think in the modern day NFL, Kyle Hamilton, Nick Emanwari, Caleb Downs, those are the safeties of the future, and Caleb Downs is the next guy in that mold, and I think he's one of the best prospects coming out in that mold. Now, it is safety, So he could slide down the board. We saw Kyle Hamilton go at number 14. Nick Evenwari went into the mid to late 30s. Caleb Downs, in my opinion, again, is a better prospect of the three. I think there's a very good chance with the combine, with the interviews, he stays in that top 5 pick range, because I think he is hands down, pound for pound, the best prospect in this class is Caleb Downs. Then at number 5, the New York Giants. I think they would have wanted Caleb Downs. I think their safety room has been very lackluster since Julian Love and Xavier McKinney walked. So I think they would have gone Caleb Downs if the Browns didn't go Caleb Downs, and that's why the Cardinals trade up. They only have to give up 2 third-round picks, and they grab their guy in Caleb Downs. The Giants, they pivot. They say, you know what? That's fine. We'll grab Jordan Tyson, the number 1 wide receiver in this class. Arguably the number 1 wide receiver. Let me rephrase that. He's 6'2", 200. I think long-term, he's more of a Pippen to Malik Neighbors' Jordan. And, Malik Neighbors is recovering from a torn ACL. So with Jordan Tyson, you can ease him in into the next season. You don't need him to start day 1. You re-sign Wan'Dale Robinson, hopefully, because Wan'Dale's been doing a great job in the slot this year, and with a bigger role moving to the outside. But now, when everyone's healthy, you have Jackson Dart, Cam Scatabo, Teron Tracy, an okay offensive line that you're working on. Throw into Jordan Tyson, Malik Neighbors, and Wan'Dale Robinson. That is an exciting and fun offense that you can try and win this NFC East, that every year either the Eagles are dominating or someone sneaks into the playoffs and hosts a playoff game. That's the 2 rules, right? That's the 2 lanes in the last 6 years that the NFC East is gone. And I think if they can get an offense, a competent offense with a competent offensive coordinator, this is the move that they can make to really propel themselves in the NFC East. Then for the Cleveland Browns, I think this is where it happens. I think Carnell Tate does end up in Cleveland. I think this is one of those storybook endings that no matter what is going to happen, he is, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in this class. He runs every route you want him to, has great athletic ability to jump up and get that ball no matter where he's getting the ball's thrown to. It gets, obviously, because you don't get Mendoza or Moore, this is Shedeur Sanders' team in 2026. You're going to see what he can be in 2027 draft. If he's your franchise guy, awesome. If not, in 2027, you do your thing. But Carnell Tate to the Cleveland Browns, I think is the number 1 penciled in thing that every single scout analyst is doing, because it makes too much sense. Wide receiver 1 is a need. The Browns obviously are in Cleveland, aren't in Ohio. Carnell Tate in Ohio State. And I think the Browns every year always get an Ohio State guy, whether it's in undrafted free agency or in the draft. And I think Carnell Tate is their guy to go and grab. Yes, he could have gotten Caleb Downs for the defense, but I think this offseason can be a very heavy focus on the offense because of how bad the Browns are on offense. The Saints, they're another team that's ecstatic that this is how the draft's gone, because they get Ruben Bain Jr. They get their premier edge rusher from Miami. This dude, again, is one of the best edge rushers in this class. I think he's better than everyone so far. David Bailey is probably the only guy that you could talk yourself into getting, because he's at Texas Tech. He's performing. But the difference between Texas Tech's defensive line and defense overall in Miami is head and shoulders. Like, Texas Tech's infrastructure is 10 times better than Miami's infrastructure, and Ruben Bain is still performing great in Miami. Did his numbers take a little bit of a hit? Absolutely. Everyone thought it's going to be like a 10, 11, 12 sack guy because of how dominant he was last year in limited snaps. Finally in a more superior role. Didn't really take that massive jump everyone thought, but great run defender, good pass rusher. That's my guy for the New Orleans Saints to help rebuild this defense, because the defense is actually not that bad. Actually not that bad of a defense. They're the last 5 or 6 weeks, they've done a very good job holding the offenses to less than average numbers that they're used to. Then at number 8, if Dan Quinn is still the head coach, again, if you guys saw my video on Saturday, I did not have Dan Quinn as a coach being fired this offseason. I think Sonny Styles is the guy at number 8. Is it crazy? Absolutely. I think 4 Ohio State guys in the top 8. It's crazy. I agree with you. But this is the best roster in college football. You're going to have a lot of guys at the top of the draft and throughout the draft. I think Sonny Styles is the best stand-up linebacker in this class. And the Washington Commanders, say what you want, linebacker runs this defense. Dan Quinn has been very vocal his entire NFL career as a coach that linebackers are the most important position on the field. That's what he believes, and Sonny Styles is the athletic freak to get all around the field to lead Dan Quinn's defense for the next 10 years. This is the dude that I think can handle Bobby Wagner's responsibility for the future. Him next to Frankie Louvu would be one of the best athletic linebacker duos in the NFL. This makes too much sense when it comes to schematic fit into what Dan Quinn preaches in his press conferences. Then at number 9, the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they do just take a defensive lineman. I think they just grab Peter Woods and they say, awesome, pair him next to Shamar Stewart, and let's try and get his defense fixed overnight. And I think Peter Woods is a first step to that. And as you can notice, I said first step to that because we're at number 10. Ding, 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 ding. If you watched my video last week about trades that could happen, I have the Los Angeles Rams trading for Joe Burrow in the offseason. The reason I have that is because of the fit. It is all because of the fit. Joe Burrow in Los Angeles would win 2 or 3 Super Bowl rings. Better offensive line, better infrastructure, better defense, better coaching, and he's in the NFC. The Bengals, I think they'd be a little petty because they lost to the Rams in the Super Bowl. But if the Rams came in with an offer of number 10 overall, number 31 overall, their future first, their future second, and Blake Corum, this is the package. This is the package the rest of the NFL has to beat. 3 first-round picks, a second, and Blake Corum. I don't think anyone in the league is going to be able to beat that offer, especially because when Joe Burrow hears, oh, the Rams want me, that infrastructure, that head coach, that wide receiver core, that run game, that offensive line, I want to go there. I think the Bengals would honor that, and they would absolutely force that trade to get Joe Burrow on the Los Angeles Rams for the future. The Rams, they might even give up 2028 first-round picks and just say, we want Joe, that's all we want. So the Bengals, they get number 10 overall. They had number 9. They get number 10. They grab Peter Woods. I think they then grab Mansour Delane. Mansour Delane is my number 1 corner in this class. He's 6 foot, 190, does everything you want a cornerback to do. He attacks the run game, great man coverage, plays well in zone coverage, has very good feet, constantly moving, not biting routes when he doesn't need to. Mansour Delane is the premier corner in this class, and they get the premier D tackle and premier corner, both blue chip prospects. That is great for the Bengals defense for the future. Next, at number 11, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. They do grab Jeremiah Love. Yes, they're a little high for a running back, but Jeremiah Love, I mean, the last 2 years, he's been fantastic. He's been elite, and not only did they get Jeremiah Love, they prevent the Minnesota Vikings from getting Jeremiah Love, because I do think they would draft Jeremiah if they didn't. Mahomes just tore an ACL this last week. They need to invest in the run game. They need to invest into it. I don't care what Andy Reid believes. If he doesn't really believe in the run game, you got to invest into it now. Mahomes cannot do it all himself. When Mahomes is your leading rusher for a season, that's bad. He can't be your leading rusher and passer. You're asking too much out of him. And as you can see, he pops an ACL because he's being asked to do too much. His body's under too much strain. You got to, alleviate some of that pressure off of his shoulders. You have an elite offensive line. Let Jeremiah Love run behind that elite offensive line. Then at number 12, the Minnesota Vikings, they pivot off of Jeremiah Love, and I think they grab Avion Terrell, the number 2 corner in the class, in my opinion. He's 5'11", 180. If you guys have not watched Avion Terrell play this season at Clemson, don't let the 3 touchdowns fool you. This is a lockdown corner. This dude is elite. The way he can jump routes and shadow receivers and have the athleticism to bend over receivers and just snag the ball out of their hands. I love Avion Terrell. If Mansour Delane, again, if he didn't have as good of a season as he did this year, Avion Terrell is my number 1 corner. Like, I think his physicals and his intangibles, just the way he plays corner, is something that you can't teach. Like, you can teach guys to jump the ball route more. Like, to say, hey, be more, attack the air more when you're against a wide receiver. But you can't teach guys how good, how well do you cover guys. Do you have the speed and athleticism to get knocked on your ass and get back up and still make the big play? Some guys have it, some guys don't. I think Mansour Delane and Avion Terrell in this class have it. Next, the Miami Dolphins, I'm going to grab David Bailey. Yes, their offensive line needs some help. Yes, wide receiver could be really helpful. But I think David Bailey, in my opinion, is the best when it comes to sack production edge rusher in this class. 5 sacks 2 years ago, 7 sacks last year, 14 sacks this year. Leading the nation in sacks this year. He produces. Now, again, he's on Texas Tech's defense. Their infrastructure is one of the best infrastructures in college football. But at the end of the day, he's putting up stats. And Miami Dolphins, they need a guy who can put up stats really bad. They traded Jalen Phillips. Bradley Chubb is on his last year of his deal in 2026. It's non-guaranteed. They could cut him for nothing and lose and only gain cap space, no dead cap. Get David Bailey, put him next to Chop Robinson. That's your edge rushing duo over the future. And I just think David Bailey would be able to come in and just dominate day 1 for the Dolphins. Then number 14, I think the Cowboys are a little mad. Again, that's back-to-back picks where the Chiefs grab Jeremiah Love so the Vikings can't. And I think the Dolphins, they need an edge rusher. They grab the best edge rusher knowing that the Cowboys need an edge rusher. But they go Cassius Howell, who's still a really good edge rusher from A&M at 12 sacks. He's number 2 in the nation when it comes to sacks. He's still a really good edge rusher. The Cowboys are going to lose Sam Williams to free agency. Donovan Ezeraku has shown that I think he can be a pretty promising edge rusher in the future as a former second or third round pick. I like what Ezeraku has been able to put on tape, but I think Cassius Howell, let him be that premier edge rusher who can start day one and be that number one guy that everyone else can play off of next to Quinnen Williams and next to Kenny Clark. Not Kenny Clark. Yeah, Kenny Clark. Yeah, Kenny Clark. I'm like, wait a minute. Was he traded? Yeah, Kenny Clark. Like, they have a great D tackle room now. They just need to get another premier edge rusher. I think this is the guy to get at number 14 to do that. Then at number 15, the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go Caleb Banks. They have other positions of need, yes, but Nnamdi Madubuike got injured this year, and he has not played, and a lot of Raiders fans worry that he might be medically retiring at the end of the season. Caleb Banks has been injured all this year, but before that was a healthy guy, played every game. This is an abnormal injury for him this year, and if he was healthy, he would have been a top 12, top 13 pick. So they give him at 15, a position of need, and a guy who can start for them day one. That's exactly what you want in a first-round pick, especially a middle of the first-round pick. Then at number 16, the Carolina Panthers, just like the Ravens, they grab a position of need. They grab T.J. Parker, another guy that is having a little bit of a down season when it comes to stats, but has improved immensely as a run defender. 6'3", 260. There's a chance he goes back to school, but I think he knows he's a first-round pick. I don't think he can get much higher than, the 15 range, 10 to 15. So might as well get drafted, get paid, and I think the Carolina Panthers are a great roster for him. The infrastructure that they've been building the last couple of years is finally coming to fruition. They're currently the NFC South leaders. I think their defense needs more defensive line help, and this is their investment into that in the future. Then for the Detroit Lions, listen, I think it's offensive line. You have Spencer Fano, your right tackle. You have Francis Malgoa, who can move into guard. But if you're going to move Francis Malgoa to guard, might as well just grab the best guard prospect in the class in Oluvega Ione. I know I butchered that name. But as you can see, he's had experience at both guard spots. But at minimum, he's your left guard of the future, right? That is Taylor Decker at left tackle if he returns. That is Penei Sewell at right tackle. You now have Ione that you can rely on for the future at that guard spot. And again, that's what the Lions need to do now, is invest in edge rusher and offensive line. You got your corners, you got your safeties, you got your wide receivers, you got your running backs, your quarterback, your tight ends, but you have not invested in the trenches enough. Last year, you grabbed Tyleik Williams. He's shown some promise, but now this season, go into the offensive line depth and grab that first-round premier prospect at the guard position, because your interior offensive line is the issue. Grab Ione, solve it overnight. Then for the New York Giants in that trade back, they grabbed Jordan Tyson earlier. I'm going to grab Jamon McCoy. While their secondary is not bad, grab Jamon McCoy. He's missed this entire season, yes, but 6 foot, 193. As you see, 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This dude is a constant turnover machine. He can be a boundary corner for you. And again, gotta invest. You just gotta invest. That's the number one thing that this team has to do. I think secondary is not their biggest need on the team. I think obviously offensive line are the future. But for me, grab Jamon McCoy, who, if healthy, would have been a top 10 pick. You get him at 18. That's great value. And he can be your number one corner for the next 5, 6, 7 years. Like, that is a immense value to get number 18. Then at number 19, I have the Buccaneers reaching, and they grab Romello Height from Texas Tech. Again, the running mate for David Bailey, but, just not as good. Not as good as a run defender, as you can see. Definitely more of that pass rusher specialist. But again, what are the Buccaneers missing out on, number one? Edge rusher. Their defensive line cannot get pressure. Grab Romello Height, let him start for you day one, and you're one step better in the direction, right? I think in free agency, edge rusher has to be the number one priority for this team. But grab a young guy, Romello Height, that at the minute he's drafted is going to be starting for your team and getting sacks for you on Sundays. Like, who doesn't want that out of the gates? Then for the Steelers, I'm going to grab Denzel Boston. Again, there's no quarterback prospect right now. I don't think Ty Simpson's is coming out. I don't think Lenore Sellers is going back to school. Brendan Sorsby's going back to school. I just don't see a quarterback coming out that they're going to want to draft. So grab Denzel Boston. You're watching this offense with no one outside of DK Metcalf making plays. Grab Denzel Boston. This is a true wide receiver 1. He's 6'4", 209. Is only slipping because of Washington overall. But this dude is legit. If the Browns could not grab Cardinal Tate, I would absolutely, at this point, want to trade up to grab Denzel Boston. Because this dude is a legit, big body, deep threat guy that, yes, plays a lot what DK Metcalf does. But imagine him opposite of DK Metcalf. Elite. Then at number 21, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to go Kedrick Falk. He's a really good edge rusher. Obviously, massive hit to his numbers this year. But even if the PFF isn't 100% right and he's a great run defender, hey, the Eagles need edge help. That's just in general. They have great D tackles. Mojo Ojomo, Jalen Carter, Jalen Davis. They have a great defensive tackle room. Edge rusher after Josh Sweat left has taken a massive hit. Grabs Keldrick Falk, who can come in 6'6", 285, really long arms out of Auburn, and just let him on the edge stop the run while he develops his pass rushing specialty. But Vic Fangio is one of the few defensive coordinators I trust to develop anyone in the league. And Keldrick Falk has a great foundation to build on. Then number 22, the Houston Texans. I think this is where you see the Spencer Fano pick. Yes, they had Titus Howard at right tackle, but he was drafted in 2019. That is 6 years, going to be 7 years next year. Spencer Fano, you got to build for the future. You grabbed the Ronte Ursray last year at left tackle. He's developing. Grab Spencer Fano, trade Titus Howard to another team, get a second or third round pick back, and go back to this youth in the offensive line, because the offensive line is the biggest issue on this team. Straight up, it's the biggest issue. Titus Howard has been the guy who's been there longest now after the the left tackle that got traded for the Miami Dolphins, then now is on the Commanders. You trade Laremy Tunsil. After Laremy Tunsil, it is now Titus Howard, the longest tenured Houston Texan. And again, this offensive line's been bad for 4 years, and he's the only guy still left. Listen, you gotta move on. It sucks. I'm sure he's a good teammate, but get Spencer Fano, who can be that bookend right tackle for the next 10 years. Then for the Dallas Cowboys, their second pick in the NFL draft. Usually I go corner for them, but I've been leaning wide receiver, because we've seen what Dak Prescott with a George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb can do. They're gonna get priced out of George Pickens. Go grab Mekhi Lemon. 5'11", 195, does a lot of what George Pickens does. Great route runner, plays a lot bigger than his body actually shows, but great deep threat, 16 deep catches for 522 deep yards. This dude, if the ball's in his hands, he's making a big play. And I think the Cowboys need that type of dude opposite CeeDee Lamb, who can alleviate that pressure off of him of constantly getting double and triple teams. Now, CeeDee Lamb plays better, Mekhi Lemon gets a lot of snaps, and then you have Ryan Flanoy, who can be that slot guy. That is a great wide receiver trio to me for the future. Then number 24, the Buffalo Bills. I think this way you're going to grab Francis Mauigoa. You need young, athletic, big guys for Josh Allen. He's 6'6", 315. Every scout is saying to be playing guard in the NFL. Josh Allen is 6'5". Get a 6'6" offensive lineman who's athletic and gets to that second level and is a very good run blocker. That's exactly what Josh Allen needs. Fix this offensive line has to be priority over the offseason. You're gonna lose a lot of guys in free agency. You're gonna lose Connor McGovern. You're gonna lose, I believe, also Connor McGovern again. You're gonna lose your center and guard this offseason. You gotta replace them. Get Francis Mauigoa. Now you only need to replace center in free agency. Then at number 25, the Chicago Bears. I think they're gonna go corner. We're seeing that depth at corner has been a big issue for them and its overall impact. Keith Abney is my first round corner that I'm very high on. He's 6 foot, 190. He's a ball hawk, does not let up a lot of catches, great passer rating. This is the dude that you want opposite of Jalen Johnson with Kyler Gordon in the nickel, which I don't think he's going to be coming back next year. But Tyreek Stevenson's been injured this year, has not been playing well. Get Keith Abney, let him be that outside corner next to Jalen Johnson for the future. You have great safety play. Keith Abney is that last piece in the secondary for next season that I think could play really well in a Dennis Allen defense. Then number 26, the Los Angeles Chargers. It's going to be offensive line. It's going to be Jennings Dunker, but not to be tackle. Dunker will be moving in the guard. Now, he's 6'5", 315, but he's 6'5" with very long and powerful arms. So there's a very, very real conversation that Jennings Dunker does not move the guard for a lot of teams. But I think for the Los Angeles Chargers, you have Joe Alt, you have Rashawn Slater. They keep getting injured, yes, but Jennings Dunker, move him in the guard. Replace Zion Johnson overnight. Replace Jamari Salyer overnight. And if one of those guys get injured, you kick Jennings Dunker out the tackle. That is a great insurance policy for your injury-prone tackles, to have a tackle conversion to guard who can play for you day one, and in case of injury, can kick out the tackle. Then number 27, I'm going to go linebacker and CJ Allen. Defensive line was definitely in the conversation, but their secondary, they've rebounded very well post Talanoa Hufanga and Travarius Ward walking. They've rebounded very well, but this linebacker core has been an issue since Dre Greenlaw walked and then Fred Warner got injured. It's showing the lack of depth and impact players in the linebacker core. Get CJ Allen. I don't think he's really a first round pick guy, but I think they would reach for him to get that 5th year option and say, hey, now Fred Warner, you have a guy that you can be a running mate with. And if Fred Warner needs more time to recover than a lot of people are thinking, awesome. We trust CJ Allen to do his thing, and you get him in at 27, you get that 5th year deal. I think that's a position on defense you need to improve. Because I don't think you can grab a wide receiver. I think they'd rather run it back with like Kendrick Bourne, Ricky Pearsall, and add a guy in free agency and add another tight end as well. Because we're watching Brock Purdy not throw the ball to wide receivers. Why invest another first round pick in a wide receiver if you can't get the ball to Ricky Pearsall? Like, I'd rather get a defensive player who can make an impact overnight. Then at number 28, the Cleveland Browns. They got to grab tackle. You grab Carnell Tate. You got to grab an offensive lineman. Caden Proctor. As a Browns fan, I'm not grabbing an Alabama tackle ever again. Caleb Lomu, he's fine. But if I'm going left tackle, it's Austin Sareveld or Caleb Tiernan. And right now, it's Caleb Tiernan. To me, he's a franchise left tackle. He's 6'7", 325. This dude's legit. He is legit. Watch some Northwestern games. This dude is really, really good. Great in the run game. Great as a pass blocker. This is how I know that PFF is 100% accurate. He's a great run blocker. He actively searches for guys to hit in the run game. He's very aggressive. I think the Cleveland Browns would love to have a guy like Caleb Tiernan be their left tackle of the future for Shedeur Sanders or whoever they draft in 2027. Him and Carnell Tate, that's an A+ first round draft for me. Then at number 29, the New England Patriots. I do think that they're a team that could grab a Caden Proctor and turn him into a Hall of Famer. Like Mike Vrabel, talk the talk you want from Mike Vrabel. He knows offensive linemen. Whether it's guys that he drafts or guys that he signs, he always finds value on offensive line. And I think if they knew that Caden Proctor was going to be at 29, they would view the Caleb Tiernan draft as a joke. But Caden Proctor, move him to right tackle. He moves a little slower than you need for a left tackle. Drake May is a right-handed thrower. His blind side is Will Campbell. You got that. You got that good. You're good. But invest in the offensive line. On the offensive side of the ball, that's the weakest part of their team. Obviously, a wide receiver 1 would be really nice, but Drake May's making it work with a bunch of wide receiver 2s and 3s. So get Caden Proctor, get him at right tackle, secure your bookends for the next 5-10 years, and know that Drake May will be protected. Then at number 30, the Seattle Seahawks. I do think they go corner. They're going to lose Tariq Woolen in free agency. They're going to lose Josh Jobe in free agency. You only have, why do I always blank on his name? It's not Christian Gonzalez. The young corner they drafted 2 years ago with Christian Gonzalez. I can never remember his name, but that's their only corner. Then you have Nick Eamon-Warry. You have Kobe Bryant. You have safeties, but you don't have corners for the future. So for me, I'm grabbing Chris Johnson. He has a big frame at 6 foot 195, but he's very muscle toned and he jumps the ball. That's exactly what Mike Macdonald loves, is guys who can cover and jump ball routes. That's the number one thing for the Seahawks. And Chris Johnson is that guy at number 30. From San Diego State. He's rising up my personal draft board. PFF has him at 54. I think he's easily, at worst, 40. So he's going to be one of the first picks in the second round. Might as well get that 5th year option on him and see what he has. Because I think he can be a genuine, really good corner in the NFL. But again, the last 5 or 6 picks in the NFL draft in the first round is just guys that you want that 5th year option on. Because you don't know if they're going to develop immediately. So you would rather have that 5th year option and have 5 full years to see what they become. Then at number 31, the last pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, they have Peter Woods, they have Mansour Delane. What do? They double dip in Caden McDonald. Now, I thought about Kenyon Sadiq. I did. Imagine having Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Kenyon Sadiq as your receiving threats for whatever quarterback is here next year. However, this defense is so bad, I can't do it. I would rather double dip at Caden McDonald and Peter Woods. Your D tackle room is good for the next 10 years. It's good. You have your 2 starters for the next 10 years. Peter Woods is a blue chip prospect. Caden McDonald is showing that he's progressing better and better every single season in Ohio State. Then you grab Mansour Delane to be your number 1 corner. Great A+ defensive draft. Yes, again, obviously you have to trade Joe Burrow to get it. But if I can secure my defensive line for the next 10 years with a great corner and 2 first-round picks next year to trade up and get a quarterback next year, whether that be Arch Manning, Ty Simpson, Dylan Raiola, Lenore Sellers, whoever it be next year. You have 2 first-round picks next year to try and trade up and get a quarterback that you believe in, and it's going to be cheap. I'm doing it. I'm sorry. I am doing it because you're not going to win Joe Burrow right now. So just get a Jameis Winston free agency and just let him throw the ball 50 times a game. make T. Higgins and Jamar Chase happy for one season while you lose all those games. You go 1-16 and get a franchise quarterback again. That's my opinion. That's what the Bengals should do. We'll see what they do that. But then we have the Denver Broncos. I think wide receiver has to be the pick. And if I'm going to wide receiver, it's Jacoby Lane. I think once the combine happens and once like the Senior Bowl happens and all that, Jacoby Lane is going to be a first-round pick. Now, obviously, Jacoby Lane is a junior, but Casey Concepcion, who was it? I'm trying to remember. Was it Elijah Surratt, maybe? Surratt is a senior. That's right. Yeah, Surratt's a senior. Chris Bell tore ACL. So, Jacoby Lane is going to jump those two guys because I don't think Elijah Surratt's a first-round pick. Ian Strong, you can't jump the Rutgers wide receiver in the first round. I'm sorry. Some schools don't do that. And Casey Concepcion's too small. He's 5'11", 190. That's what Cortland Sutton is, basically. I want to grab Jacoby Lane to be that wide receiver one in the future. He's 6'4", 200 pounds, runs every route in the book. And as you can see, he just wants the ball in his hands. That's all he wants. Give him the ball. He'll make a play happen. So I'm going to go Jacoby Lane to the Denver Broncos. But yeah, that is my 2026 NFL mock draft post-college football regular season. Crazy. Lots of trades. Yeah, number one overall, the Jets trade up. They trade 3 first-round picks to get that. The Browns trade from number 4 to number 6. The Cardinals give up 2 third-round picks. They grab Caleb Downs. The Browns get Cardinal Tate at 6. Sonny Styles gets reached for at number 8. The Bengals trade Joe Burrow, the biggest trade on draft night. Again, I think it'd be way before draft night they do this. But in the draft, they get Peter Woods, Mansour Lane, and Caden McDonald. They secure their defense for the next 10 years. The Chiefs, they get Jeremiah Love. The Cowboys get Cassius Howell. The Ravens replace Nnamdi Madubuike with Caleb Banks. The Lions, they grab their guard of the future. The Giants in that trade back get Jamad McCoy, and they get Jordan Tyson. The Cowboys grab Mekhi Lemon to be their George Pickens replacement. Keith Abney sneaks into the first rounds. CJ Allen makes it into the first round. Caleb Tiernan a left tackle of the future for the Browns. Chris Johnson sneaks into the first round. And Jacoby Lane sneaks into the first round. So yeah, if you guys enjoy, please like, comment, and subscribe. Again, this is my opinion, what I think could happen if this exact draft order does happen. I think the Jets would win the sweepstakes of trading up to number 1 overall pick. The Raiders would not want to do that because they can just grab Dante Moore. And then the Browns, the Cardinals, and the Rams pivot in the different directions. Whether they trade for a quarterback with Anthony Richardson to the Cardinals and a second-round pick, or Joe Burrow to the Rams, or the Browns just run with Shador. So again, if you guys enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments down below. What is your opinion on my mock draft? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you want me to never do it again? Do you want me to do another one? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.